Hello and welcome to glennzb TV for Tuesday, the show that puts glennzb up your Periscope. I'm bringing New Zealand to the world, and the world to New Zealand. This world record. A lot of excitement about this world record of the All Blacks. I don't want to knock them because I think they're great. Perhaps a little bit too great. Some people are saying it's bad for rugby because they're so great and everybody else is so stink. But I am also just wondering, is it right to call something a world record when really there's about 4.5 teams that actually play the sport? I mean, it's not really like you're beating the whole world is what I'm saying. You're beating sort of 4.5 other teams. I mean, good on them. World record. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a technical thing. Speaking of technical issues, what is with our planes? How come every time the Prime Minister wants to go somewhere, the plane breaks down? He's kind of like, I mean, I get there's a certain amount of cred in turning up in an Air Force plane, but it is a bit like one of those teenagers who did engineering or fixed cars at Polytech because they wanted to be a mechanic. And they've got this cool car which they've done up, but it often breaks down, and then they have to wait for parts. It's a bit like that, isn't it? I just think you should just take a normal plane, Key Dids. Time to learn geography through current events. Canada had almost negotiated a free trade deal with the EU. And then Belgium, but not really Belgium, just a bit of Belgium called Wallonia, kiboshed it. And I thought, I've never heard of Wallonia before, so what do we know about Wallonia? Let's research this. The people who live in Wallonia are called Walloons. So your deal's been scuppered by a bunch of Walloons. Sorry, Canada. Wallonia is in the southern region of Belgium. There's about 3.2 million people there. They speak French. Rich in natural resources, known for its mines, mills and factories. Although, since the Second World War, not so much coal there. They've run out, so some of those have closed. Now, let's get on to the interesting stuff about Walloons. The town of... Now, it's spelt Binche. Binche, I'm going with. Or Binche. It's famous for its carnival festivities in the weeks before Lent. Now, the best known part of the celebration is the Dance of the Giel. Over 1,000 people dressed in brightly coloured padded costumes throw oranges at spectators. Now, why haven't we seen this? We always see that stupid tomato one where people get in a box and they throw tomatoes at them. I've never seen the orange throwing in the padded costumes before. We need to get some footage of that. I'll add that into my news that's not news stories because it happens every year. Events that happen every year are not news. Anyway. This, I like their sports. They have a national passion for soccer, of course. They like the bicycling. I guess that's that weird French sort of leaning. Pigeon racing is big for the Walloons. But they also enjoy typical leisure activities such as watching television and reading in well-tended gardens. And they're starting to sound a little bit boring until you discover that they're very well mannered. The people from Wallonia, the Walloons. Conversations are marked by frequent exchanges of compliments and repeated handshaking. I think that's going to make most other people... No, there's not more than 4 million Walloons. There's only 3.2 million, not 3.2 Walloons. That's ridiculous. How could 3.2 people scupper an entire free trade agreement? Anyway, that'd be weird having a conversation with somebody and them shaking your hand during the conversation more than once. I think with most of the rest of us are feeling comfortable with that. So there you go. Everything you never wanted to know about Wallonia and the Walloons. Finally, I find myself today, after the long weekend, having a little bit of sympathy for how drug dealers must feel. Controversial. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you may be familiar with my work as an amateur purveyor of cocktails at the glennzb bar. And I like it. It's a sort of a creative outlet. And unfortunately, this means that when you go away with a bunch of friends for a long weekend, there's a certain amount of pressure to deliver the cocktails, which I did. Here's some of what I delivered over the weekend. Those are the Waitomo worms there. You can see the little worms sticking out of they're not glasses. We were outside. We were, travelling away. So the plastic tumblers. So they don't look quite as good as they normally would, because normally I'd have a weird shaped glass probably. But anyway, they pack quite a punch, these. There's various different things in there, not least of which is that the worms had been soaking in vodka all day. So the worms themselves packed a little bit of a punch. So anyway, people drank these. Some people drank a lot of them. They weren't the only cocktails I made. It was a long night. Some people felt a bit dusty the next day. Some people who were very close to me, in fact, blamed me for letting them drink so many cocktails. I'm thinking, is that my fault? Like, I didn't make them. I didn't tie them down. I didn't force their mouth open, Clockwork Orange style, and pour the cocktails in. I basically said, would you like another cocktail? And then they would say yes, and then I'd give them one. Now, is that how drug dealers feel? Like, I mean, they're just trying to make a buck, and yet, it's not their job to say, looks like you've developed a habit that's affecting your whole life and then ruining it. I mean, I'm not saying that my cocktails are quite on the same scale as, like, I don't know, heroin, but they're pretty good. Just saying. I think I know how it feels. All right. As you can see, I'm a little bit jaded from the long weekend. Sorry, it's all gone on a bit long and it's got a bit weird. Thanks for having me at your Periscope anyway, and I'll try and tighten things up for you tomorrow. Thanks for watching glennzb TV.